thank you for inviting us for this homecoming. I'll probably start from introducing my fellow SSB panelists, who are Dr. Alessandra Lukini. She is a professor in the School of Systems Biology and director of our PhD program in biosciences. Dr. Dmitry Klimov, also a program director for a PhD program in bioinformatics and computational biology, and Dr. Don Sita, director of one of our master's program, Master of Science in Bioinformatics and Computational Biology. Our school is a graduate department. We have 9 graduate programs. Several others are also represented by us collectively. We have a MS in biology, a program with a number of different concentrations, and we have MS and professional science master's programs in bioinformatics management, which combines science training in bioinformatics and computational biology with training in business and management for people who are interested in that aspect of scientific enterprise. We also have 2 graduate certificates, graduate certificate in bioinformatics and computational biology and graduate certificate in personalized medicine. School of Systems Biology is the largest graduate department in the College of Science. We have a quarter of all PhD students in the College of Science, and we have 1/3 of all master students in the College of Science. And as the largest graduate department, we contribute a lot into training of future leaders in science in our respective fields. And we also have a broad and very well established portfolio of research programs that cover many different areas of biological sciences, biomedical fields, and computational approaches to biology and life sciences. School of Systems Biology is a home to 3 research centers. We have a center for applied proteomics and molecular medicine. Did I say the name right, Alessandra?
Perfect.
Great. Yes. So the Center for Applied Proteomics and Molecular Medicine, which Dr. Lukini is one of the members of this center, and it also includes a number of some of the top leaders in this field in the world. Dr. Lyotta, Dr. Petricoin, Dr. Pierabon, a number of research faculty. We have another center for infectious diseases and biodefense, which works in studying various pathogens, viral and bacterial pathogens, and how to fight them with different research projects. We have a Center for Metabolic Disease that investigates pathologies with liver and other diseases of humans. and a number of faculty at School of Systems Biology who are not directly affiliated with the centers study things like computational approaches to model biomolecular systems, to analyze huge amounts of data coming from genomic and proteomic projects, to study genomes of viruses, bacteria, and various eukaryotes. We have people who do neuroscience, scientists who study interactions of different receptors in a neural system with the agents that affect or interact with them. We have people who study fields that span a number of disciplines, not just biology and biosciences, but also psychology and economics. For example, one of our faculty works on understanding biological and cognitive mechanisms of trust. So how and why people trust or do not trust each other. So if you are interested in virtually any area of modern biological, biomedical, life sciences, computational biology, and bioinformatics, you would likely find something of interest in our department. Again, if you join us, you will become a member of a large student body. We have more than 270 graduate students. We have a number of student organizations that participate in various facets of student life on campus, and they work closely with Michael Galvin and his office on campus. And so I guess I'll stop at this point and will turn over to my colleagues, and they can talk briefly about their respective programs. And then if there will be any questions, we would be happy to entertain them. So thank you for joining us or listening later, whenever it will happen. And feel free to get in touch with us at any point if you are interested in information about us, how to join us, how to participate in our activities. Thank you. And so I'll introduce again Dr. Alessandra Lukini.
Well, thank you very much, Josip, for the very comprehensive introduction. Sorry, I heard a little bit of return. So I am extremely fortunate to work with the students who are enrolled in the bioscience program. And students work with faculty, as Dr. Weissman has said, who carry on projects in impactful biomedical disciplines. And examples are testing and disease research on COVID-19, which of course we are all very extremely familiar. We have virologists who work with in HIV research, trying to figure out ever improving treatments, pursuing the dream of an HIV vaccine, try to understand the implication of this, that this virus has on the brain and mental health of affected people. Other infectious diseases are pursued, tropical and neglected infectious disease that, as we can see, even if they originate outside the country, however, they can certainly circulate very fast. We work on cancer research and pursuing the dream of personalized medicine, tailoring treatment and diagnostic on the molecular footprint and the molecular landscape of each individual patient, because as the more we know and the more we learn about the genome of human beings and the genome of cancer, it's an extremely heterogeneous disease, and every patient is different than another. And so one treatment doesn't really fit all. We do have neuroscientists who work both on the molecular level and on more psychology, interpersonal relationship level. Our students are very diverse, and so we like to think ourselves as the house for everybody. We can have, more than 50% of our students belong to underrepresented group in science as defined by the NIH on the basis of ethnicity, background, first generation students, and there is no difference in the achievements of the students depending on the group they belong to, well represented, overrepresented, underrepresented. The graduation time is slightly below the national average, so we proceed, or better, the students proceed at a good pace. In terms of outcomes, students are able to pursue their careers in academia, in the government, and also in the industry, approximately a third each. So this is a little bit what's going on in the lab, and I thought it was worthwhile mentioning that the department and the college do have also activities to community engagement, because I think it's very important that now more than ever, scientists don't stay within the wall of academic research, but kind of, use the science to benefit the community. And so one example is the Galileo Science Cafe, and which is a forum when we were so fortunate to see other human beings in person, would give us dinner and have some science discussion for the general public that were ranging from astronomists, physicists, FBI profiling, and many other things. And we're really generating interesting discussion and lively interactions. And we do, through clinical trials, behavioral clinical trials, try to involve the community and try to make the science in the lab get out of the building and to the benefit of the community, to improve in general human health through science. And I would like just to finish with a thought, and because it might be relevant since we are a graduate program. And as Dr. Weissman was saying, so why would somebody invest time and therefore money in the prime moment of life to pursue a graduate program? And it is it's a very broad question that I get a lot. And the reasons are many, and I would say with the graduate program in general, you deepen your knowledge, you develop some professional skills that are transversal to any industry and field you might want to pursue, and you have you can acquire generally professional contacts, again, extremely broad. But then it speaks also to a sense of self-accomplishment. Pursuing graduate studies, you would contribute to the overall knowledge of the world, right? As scholars and scientists, we push what the world knows, and in terms of personal satisfaction and self-identity, that is something that it's difficult to underestimate. And finally, as happened to many of us, having a graduate degree opens really the world, diminishes the world barriers. Having a graduate degree can really help having some sort of qualification that are internationally recognized. So anyway, thank you so much for allowing me to speak a little bit about our students and the program, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that are now or in the future, and just wish everybody good luck.
Thank you, Alessandra, for this great introduction. And next, Dr. Klimov can talk briefly about his program. Dmitry?
Yes, I think I will share the screen quickly. Yeah, I hope you can see the. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm representing the PhD program in Bioinformatics and Computational Biology. So this program is housed in the School of Systems Biology, and of course, as you already kind of suspecting, the School of Systems Biology is part of the Science and Technology campus. So I think that when you think about bioinformatics program in bioinformatics, you typically would think that the research and work is concentrated on bioinformatics, but in reality, this is true and this is not true. It is true in the sense that, of course, many of our faculty are working on bioinformatics applications, for example, sequence analysis, structure analysis, but on the other hand, we look we consider our program more like a computational biology program, which spans different branches, different applications of numerical methods to biological questions. And for this reason, our faculty work on such diverse topics as which I already mentioned, such as bioinformatics applications, but also up to biophysics, modeling of cells, or modeling of important biomolecules. For example, we applying machine learning techniques for example, Professor Weizmann, in fact, working, for example, on application of machine learning tools to investigate or to predict, for example, antimicrobial peptides, whether, for example, unknown protein sequence can act as an antimicrobial peptide. And clearly this is important because antimicrobial peptides are potential replacements or additions, maybe better to say, to antibiotics. Clearly our goal is to prepare a new generation of computational biologists. And we think and we expect that you will be working in different areas. It can be either industry, private industry, government, or academia. In fact, actually, our advisors would somewhat tailor actually your upbringing and your training, your employment goals. Clearly, the program is has certain challenges, obviously, and I would kind of group them into two categories. First of all, it's a coursework, and the second one is, of course, research. So coursework-wise, you would expect to play core courses, which are focused on the kind of most fundamental topics in computational biology. That will be supplemented with the lab rotations, with the, of course, attendance of seminars, and as a to speak, you will have to pass a comprehensive exam because during the comprehensive exam, you will be tested on your knowledge on this basic training which you obtained and received during the coursework. But then is another component, and arguably probably even more important component, is the research itself. So that means that you will be preparing the dissertation proposal, you will defend it in front of the committee, and then you will work on the under the supervision of one of our faculty on the topic of your interest, and that would culminate in the defense of your proposal or defense of your research in front of the committee, and in fact actually public. And that should represent a work which we expect will be published in peer-reviewed journals. So that means essentially this achievement will stay with you, you can say forever, because obviously it's a record of your contribution to science, as actually Alessandra was describing. That I think is an important kind of sense or source of self-achievement and recognition. It is important to mention that effectively, and this is probably what put us a little bit apart from wet lab programs, we are practically, for all practical purposes, are the online program, because all of our courses have distant learning components. In fact, actually, even the comprehensive exam or the defense of the dissertation itself can be done online. And probably even more importantly, the research itself can be done online, because what you really need is the access to computers. And after this, essentially the sky is the limit. And that's why our students are geographically dispersed. They're not necessarily physically closely located to the campus. And that's, I think, is it's an exciting opportunity for getting the PhD degree. Maybe a few basic statistics. So this is what you see here is in the first line, it's the number of the enrolled students over the years. The enrollment increased. I think it's increased, the rate of the increase actually even accelerated in the last years. We also have the number of degrees awarded in our program, and you also see an increase in this number, essentially the reflection of the increase in the number of enrolled students. Typically, our students spend roughly from maybe 5.5 years in the program, but this the time to the completion of the degree varies because it depends on your circumstances. Some of the students work, and some of our students are part-time, so that means that they maybe spend a little bit more time in the program because obviously there are other commitments besides the program itself and research for the program. But some of our students are coming directly from the Bachelor of Science degree, and that's why the course load and the amount of courses which you have to complete is a little bit higher than, for example, for those who are already have the MS degree. So circumstances vary. So that's why your time for the degree is probably from 4 years and up. So this is kind of few numbers that in the recent years we accepted 14 students have advanced to candidacy. And as I said, that most of our students are passing the comp exam, comprehensive exam, on the first attempt. These are additional few numbers concerning the admittance and enrollment in the last year. So these are the phases of our program. As I said, that our faculty are working on diverse topics, from bioinformatics and structural analysis or sequence analysis per se to biophysical and several systems studying biophysical aspects of cells or biomolecules. And in the last slide, this is the list of the places where graduates work. So clearly they are very diverse. And we hope that you will find your place in our program. You will find it's interesting, rewarding, of course, challenging. Definitely, it's clearly it's intellectual challenge, and that will be kind of a good source, and it will improve your employment in the future and give you satisfaction in your career. Okay, so that I think conclude my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Dmitry. And so our last panelist is Dr. Don Sita, and Dr. Sita will present our master's program in bioinformatics and computational biology. Please, Don.
Hi. So thank you, Dmitry, for telling us all about the master's program too. We're the bioinformatics and computational biology. Master's students have the same access and resources that the PhD students too. Although the program is not as long, it's 2 years if you full time. Many of our students are part-time, and that's good because you can also make a lot of money on the side working for your employers. And the good thing is that our program is fully online, so you don't have to do the commute if you don't want to. And we have students, I have students that are in New Mexico, for example, or Houston. So this is a pretty interesting setup, and it's good for you as a consumer. Many of our students, as Dmitry has pointed out, have very nice positions. I have direct students that are working in China. They keep asking me for references to people who want to work there at universities and companies all over the U.S. So it's a very worthwhile program to do a master's program if you're not interested in a full PhD. There are lots of advantages to a master's program. Even if you don't want to go into research, there are just lots of opportunities for you out there. I think that's probably all I have to say about this. I'm open to questions.
Okay, thank you, Don. And so that I think that concludes our presentation, and we would be happy to answer any questions now.
Okay, folks.
And the continuation of the program. Thank you for and giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Weissman, and thank you, panelists. I do have 2 questions that we can ask briefly, and Dr. Falsetti has donated a few moments of his time so that we could answer a few questions. They're easy. Let's see. We heard that 50% of your students come from underrepresented populations. How do you make that happen? Is that intentional, or is it serendipity?
Probably the truth is in the middle, right? I think we are lucky to have a very diverse participation or interest from underrepresented group starting from, but in a little bit in line with the university overall effort, we now have been doing like very intentional, we have been taking intentional steps to try and improve that. And there are opportunities at the university level, and we are seeking opportunity to fund more of these positions in the future with external funds. But it is an acknowledged idea that diversity brings new and fresh perspective to tackle huge problems, and that's where lies the secret of success. Is just different point of view.
Absolutely, thank you. One more briefly. is there a way that the Mason community or the general public can stay current on the most interesting happenings that must be happening at the School of Systems Biology, hidden from the view of most people? Do you have a newsletter, or do you have a news page on your website that highlights student research and things that are going on?
Yes, thank you, Mike, for this question. So we do have a news page on the website, and it is reasonably active. So at least the major achievements and accomplishments of our faculty and students are reported there. And interestingly, right now we are trying to make our presence on social media is much more active than it used to be. So hopefully in the near future, you would be able to connect with us on Facebook and Twitter and stay even better informed about what is going on in the School of Systems Biology.
That's fantastic. Sounds like you've got all the channels covered. From a communications person, I say thank you. And we're going to